watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right to it. Jump into our mailbag segment as we're asking for your trade ideas. We'll get plenty of those. Let's start with a $10 super chat from Dano, who writes the following. Much appreciated, Dano. Thanks for the $10 super chat. Not saying he's a bad quarterback. I have to say I don't have faith in Geno to take us to the playoffs. What are your thoughts and belief in Geno? Dano, didn't Geno already take Seattle to the postseason once before? 2022? Have we already forgotten? I saw it with my own eyes. Granted, they did lose in the wildcard round to the San Francisco 49ers, but he has done this before. I look at the issues plaguing the Seahawks team. Geno is not problem 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5. All right? Look at the offensive line, linebacker issues, first-year head coach. I mean, a number of things, right? Geno, I don't think is going to be the thing that holds the Seahawks back from going to the postseason. If they don't go to the postseason, it's not because of Geno. I would be surprised if that's the case, but Dano, we'll just see. We'll have to wait and see. I'm a little more optimistic probably than most people when it comes to Geno. Seahawks Today is bringing you daily coverage you won't find anywhere else with our news and rumors. We're live twice a week. We're doing these interactive Q&A mailbags like you're seeing right here, where we answer your questions live in real time. We are your off-season headquarters. Subscribe now and join the Noti gang. Those are the real ones that have their notifications turned on so they never miss a moment of Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, join the Noti gang, youtube.com/SeahawksTV to subscribe for free and join now. Phobia with a question. Phobia writes in, does the Brandon Aiyuk situation give Seattle an edge to beat the Niners this year? Potentially. All right. Let's take this piece by piece here. So at the time of this recording, Brandon Aiyuk requested a trade, and he's looking for a new contract. Now, he obviously does not have a new contract at this point in time, but it's an evolving situation. Things could change. He very well might end up getting paid and staying with the San Francisco 49ers when it's all said and done. Although he's requested a trade, times are different in the NFL. It used to be a foregone conclusion. The moment you requested a trade, you were done so done. You were out of there, but we saw Lamar Jackson a couple of years ago request a trade, and then he signed a new contract. We saw right there in San Francisco, Deebo Samuel requested a trade, and he got a new contract. So if he's gone, then yes, that is a big window of opportunity for the Seattle Seahawks. But he's not gone just yet. So hold your horses. Everybody buckle in. Reach on up there. Pull those belts tight. We're not there yet, but it is a good step in the right direction, Phobia. Thanks for the question. Future's baby mama. Oh, he's got a few of those. Could the Seahawks trade for Kyle Pitts? Future. What's going on with Future these days? I know that Russell Wilson's raising this kid and everything. You know, that's interesting. Is he referring to Ciara here as Future's baby mama? I think so. Anyways, could the Seahawks trade for Kyle Pitts? Could they? Probably not. I would like them to. If they could, it'd be a home run. I think you'd be giving up potentially a second or third round pick for a guy that is capable of being a top 5 tight end in this league. It would totally change your offense. You put him with Noah Fant, in addition to having JSN and Lockett and DK and Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Nobody's stopping that offense if that happens. And I'll say this, Arthur Smith, if you're watching, you're about to catch some strays here, so pay attention accordingly. I don't think that Kyle Pitts was properly used in Atlanta. Same can be said for Bijan Robinson. I think just having a new coaching staff with Atlanta and a new quarterback in Kirk Cousins, we should see Kyle Pitts' play elevate to that 1,000-yard receiver that he was at one point in time. You get him to Seattle, he would thrive. He'd be a great fit. You'd have to pay him potentially. But if you could pull it off, only giving up a second or third, not having to give a first-round pick, sign me up. And you can still keep Noah Fant too. And run 2 tight ends, run 12 personnel all the time. To me, that makes a ton of sense. I would love it. I don't think it's happening, but I'd love to see it happen. Should the Seahawks trade for Kyle Pitts? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options here. Choose wisely. Type T for trade, type P for pass. Weigh in, let us know. The DMV Coyote. We were asking the other day, and I didn't get an answer on this DMV Coyote. Is that Coyote or is it Coyote? And what goes on at the DMV? Maybe I don't want to know what goes on at the DMV. What role will Julian Love play in Macdonald's defense? Glad you asked. I think Julian Love plays the traditional safety role. It's not the Kyle Hamilton hybrid role that we saw from Baltimore last year, where he played really well. That's going to be kind of what Devin Witherspoon does. But he plays the traditional safety spot, and he's going to be on the field almost every single play with this defense. And basically, here's one thing to think about. If you were to put this in perspective when it comes to Julian Love, he's got to be the guy where he says, the buck stops with me. Nothing gets past me. All right? Maybe you have an off day from Trey Brown or Mike Jackson. Maybe Rick Williams back to his old ways where he's struggling to tackle a little bit. That's where Julian Love comes in. Nothing gets past Julian Love. That's got to be the way that he approaches this year, and I think he'll be used well. $10 super chat from the DMV Coyote, or Coyote, whatever it is. To piggyback off of Dano's super chat, I think Hal would be better off as the starting QB1. He gets overlooked as he was in a shitty situation in Washington. If he was the starter day one, he'd have 4,000 to 4,500 yards. DMV Coyote, respectfully, thanks for the super chat. I disagree. Sam Howell turned the football over a lot in Washington last year. And he got sacked a lot last year. Granted, his offensive line was even worse than Seattle's offensive line. So you can't blame him for all of that. But think about the weapons they had there in Washington. Scary Terry, Dodson, had some solid running backs, and he turned the football over that much. I'm not quite sold on Sam Howell. I think he's fine to be your backup, but I think Geno is clearly better than Sam Howell at this point in time. We'll see. Space Needle official writes in, I'm not sold on Jackson or Brown, referring to Trey Brown and Mike Jackson there. What about trading for Marshon Lattimore? Marshon Lattimore, it's no secret the Saints are shopping him. That he is one of the top players on the trade block right now, if you will. And the Saints, with everybody knowing that he's on the trade block, are probably not going to get a ton for him if they were going to get a move done of sorts. And there's a potential possibility that he doesn't get traded and they just have to cut him and count their losses. I'm not trying to trade for Marshon Lattimore and give up assets when there's that possibility that he could potentially be out there. He would be an upgrade from Trey Brown or Mike Jackson, no doubt about that. If he's sitting there in free agency, Seahawks have a little bit of money to spend. I'll sign him up tomorrow, and he can be my new starting outside corner, and we can figure out something else to do with Trey Brown and Mike Jackson. But I'm not going to trade assets when I know that he potentially could be sitting out there soon. So I like Marshon Lattimore. I don't like the idea of trading for Marshon Lattimore. Should the Seahawks trade for Marshon Lattimore? Y for yes, N for no. What do you guys think? Weigh in the comments section. Let us know. Got time for about 2 more questions here. Let's start with this one from JSN Clips. Who do you think is, in this coming year, will be the most surprising player? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Buy stock in Jonathan Hankins. He is going to be a difference maker in this defensive line, providing depth. He can get after the quarterback. He played under AD, the new Seahawks defensive coordinator in Dallas. Already knows the scheme, what he needs to do. And if there's injury, something happens to Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams, whatever, Jonathan Hankins is going to be ready to step up. Watch out for Jonathan Hankins. Last question. Evan Schneider writes, could we trade for a star corner this year like Gilmore or Bland? Well, Gilmore's sitting in free agency. You could get him for nothing. I don't see them making a trade. Same kind of thing we talked about with Marshon Lattimore earlier there. Maybe it's signing a guy like Gilmore. Maybe it's signing Lattimore. But I don't see Seattle giving up assets for that position at this point in time. Because say what you want about Mike Jackson, Trey Brown. I know that they've had their peaks and valleys, if you will, but both of them are still starting quality corners in this league. Subscribe now to Seahawks Today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.